For the agent that must be in the know, Medicare Industry Insider discusses critical insight, noteworthy trends, and upcoming issues in the Medicare market.
Deciphering and debating the legislation, regulation, and what's happening in the market. I'm Chalon Jackson.
And I'm Rachel Brameyer, and we're going to talk shop, dive deep into these complex topics, and make them understandable and actionable.
If you've ever wondered where the world of Medicare is going and how to prepare for the future, Medicare Industry Insider is the resource you've been looking for. Hello, I'm Chalon Jackson. Welcome to another episode of Medicare Industry Insider.
And I'm Rachel Brameyer.
Today we wanted to talk a little bit about, as a broker, as an agent, kind of how to really get engaged and informed in the industry, in your community, really a little bit more about how to be a good business owner. You know, it's really easy to get bogged down in the minutia of your day-to-day of writing policies and doing service work and things like that. And especially for anyone who's looking to make the jump from agent to agency owner, or starting in a new role in management at a larger agency, anything like that. I hope today will maybe share some ideas on how to get some more engagement in your local community, how to get engaged with folks in our industry, and then how to turn that into opportunities in a very specific and tangible way for you.
And you'll see when we look at a lot of our top producers, and that doesn't mean just Medicare industry, like even looking nationwide and industry-wide or outside of the industry, the people who are usually the most successful are the ones who become a pinnacle in their community, who become someone that like everyone knows, and they're just always involved in everything. So today we're going to go into a lot of different ideas of being not only someone that everyone knows, but also a resource, someone who's educated, someone who has the power to make change too in this industry, in your local community, and also nationwide as well. So the first one we had on here was NIBA, National Association of
Benefits and Insurance Professionals.
They just changed their name from NAHU. So if you've heard NAHU, that is the same organization. It's NABIP now. And being involved in that is specifically for insurance professionals.
Absolutely. And there's a lot of ways you can take this organization, the Association of Benefits and Insurance Professionals, and get involved, local to national level. I previously served as our local chapter president. I'm now the president for the state of Missouri chapter, as well as sitting on some national committees and working groups. But the best thing to do is just find your local chapter. A lot of times they're kind of regional, so you may have to attend meetings virtually or drive in once a month, something like that. But there is an incredible value in being a member of our trade association. So this is the group that is out there lobbying on our behalf at the state and national level, working to enact change in the industry that benefits our clients, ourselves. And then that all starts at the local chapter. It's a great way to meet brokers and agents in your area, maybe some people you compete with, so to speak, but also a lot of potential referral partners, potential mentors. There's a lot of programming built in to NABIP to help connect you with people. And I think, again, a lot of that starts at the local chapter, just meeting the people in your area in all aspects of the health insurance ecosystem. So whether that's group brokers, individual brokers, other Medicare brokers, whatever the case may be, even some associated services. I know, personally know a gentleman that runs a payroll company and has an insanely, quality amount of value that he gets out of the organization through connections with group brokers and other people that can benefit his business. And then he actually provides a lot of value to the organization as well through some of the payroll solutions he's developed and questions he's able to answer and just that additional insight. So definitely look at getting involved at the local chapter level. And
I will say, even if there isn't one locally, take a look and see if you could start a local chapter. We actually helped found our Central Missouri NAHU chapter. So it is something that gives you additional opportunity. If you are a founding member, it gives you a chance to reach out and meet a lot of new people and kind of do a lot of recruiting and lobbyists to get them to actually become a member of it itself. So if it's not available in your local area, like Chalon said, you can join virtually, or if you would like and you are ambitious, starting your own local chapter is also an option as well.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned you've been very involved, had very many positions in NAHU. You've also traveled quite a few times for NABIP. Tell me a little bit about, or tell us a little bit about some of your favorite NABIP events that you've been involved in.
Sure. So, I mean, I would say hands down, and I'm skipping ahead on my list of things I wanted to talk about, but I think hands down, my absolute favorite event every year is Capital Conference. So Capital Conference happens every February. It's where NABIP members from around the country converge on Washington, D.C. For a couple days of talking about industry updates, legislative priorities, what the association has set out as kind of our platform, our position on things that are going on in Congress and the legislature. And then after a couple days of making sure everyone's educated and on the same page and learning from other industry professionals, talking to legislators, then all of the states, individual state chapters get all their people together and go to the Hill and meet with their legislators one-on-one. So, for example, when I was out there this past February, we met with all of the legislators from Missouri, all of our senators and representatives, either the reps themselves or their staff, and just went over the talking points. Here are the things that are the priorities for our association this year. COBRA's creditable coverage, working on removing agents and brokers from the definition of TPMO, working on site neutral payments, making sure that tax credits for providing employer-sponsored coverage remain in place. All of these things that are, either a long-term ongoing issues and fights that we've been having with Congress, or, things that are new and come to light based on things that are happening in DC.
So I think that's huge, because as an agent, knowing what's going on not only in your industry or your local area, like your state, but also nationwide, when you're talking to your clients and they're frustrated, like, what do you mean I had COBRA and now I don't have an election to pick up Part B, that you can say, like, well, I'm actually part of that and I'm trying to get that changed, because it is not fair for you. So I think that's also the other aspect, is like, it gives you another leg to stand on, that you're lobbying for the rights of your clients and helping them, get the care they need because of maybe weird rules or nuances in the legislative rules. So I think that's really neat, because you mentioned a couple of the things that you're currently lobbying for. As a person, if you're looking at this going, well, I'm not involved in the government, I don't really like doing that. When you come, though, they give you like a cheat sheet, you get educated. Absolutely. So you're not having to like start from scratch, right?
Absolutely. So again, first couple days of that conference are all spent together with folks from all over the country. We'll meet as large groups, we'll meet as smaller groups. There's breakout sessions for, again, group, individual, Medicare, to learn the talking points on each specific segment of the industry. And the other thing is, you're never going to go alone. You're going to go as at least a small group with other members from your state, whether it's people from your local chapter that you know, or maybe folks that you haven't met before from another chapter in your state. Here in Missouri, we have 3 major chapters: St. Louis, Central Missouri, and Springfield. And we all get together and kind of delegate responsibility to go visit all of those reps. And we've got people from kind of each segment of the market, of the health insurance market, that are going to speak on the various topics. So it makes it really easy to, again, share our mission as an organization, share the things that are advocating for your business, and then also provides opportunities to just make connections with those legislators to help them when they're back in district, or maybe they're doing an event, or maybe they are considering proposing some new legislation and they need experts, or they need people to come testify at congressional hearings. And, those are all things that we have actually done as members of NABIP. We've testified in Congress. We have helped draft legislation. We're working with we worked with several representatives just recently to reintroduce a bill that would permanently extend the exception to the 3 midnight rule for skilled nursing stays. That's going through the process right now, getting marked up. So lots of great opportunities at Capital Conference. Unequivocally my favorite event of the year. But again, start local, start at your state level, even on the state level. And I would say this is maybe even more important. States are getting more and more active in the role they take in managing insurance products, in my opinion. whether, and in things that they didn't used to stick their nose in, so to speak, ACA and Medicare specifically. Lots of states considering, for example, California considering a single payer system as a state. Washington creating a new payroll tax to cover long-term care insurance. There are, Florida passing a provision that prohibited the use of the word Medicare, Medicaid in agency license names. Indiana getting a new required CE class snuck through the back door through the Medicaid system that we since were able to get revoked. So there's a lot of things going on at your state level that can drastically affect your business. And pretty much every state that I'm aware of as a state organization puts together a state legislative day, much like CapCon, but to go around to your individual state legislators.
So I'm seeing two big benefits. One of them is you get to meet people, you get to collaborate, you get to be educated on what's going on. But the other one is benefiting the industry in general because you know your local area, you know what your clients are dealing with, you know what the hospital and insurance coverage looks like more than anyone in the government normally does.
Yep.
So like you said, getting to testify or speak up or educate legislative members, that's huge. So I think there's a lot of benefit in joining an organization specifically for insurance professionals.
I would agree. And they make it so easy. One of the things that comes out pretty regularly when we do have issues before Congress, either that we support or that we help draft, they make it so easy to advocate for yourself and your clients through systems like Operation Shout, where they'll pre-populate a letter or a statement in support of or opposition to whatever happens to be going on. And with a couple of clicks, you can send that directly to your representatives to make sure that they're hearing from you what your opinion is on that piece. Now, these are things you could do on your own, but having your trade association draft that letter for you, and obviously read it, make sure you do agree with it. But
it's important.
But it makes it just a couple clicks, and you can send that to your representatives. And then if you're interested in shaping the future of this industry, or helping guide the development of those policy positions while collaborating with folks from around the country that have drastically different perspectives on the industry, there are a ton of opportunities at the local, the state, the national level to get involved in working groups and committees that are focused on specific subsets of the market and really work on developing what do we think about this as an organization and what can we do about it.
So let's talk about if this is not your cup of tea.
Sure.
There are tons of other ways to get involved in your local community through organizations. So we'll kind of go into a couple of those. One of them being the chamber. There is a fee to the chambers. There's tons of chambers locally. And even if you are not a member of the chamber and you have maybe a grand opening of your business or maybe an additional insurance line that you want to do a grand launch for, contacting the chamber to get a public basically PR in the news. It's free. Having people come out, support, do ribbon cutting. That is definitely a really good way to not only meet people in the chamber, but also get a little bit of about your business out in the community as well. But if you do decide to join the chamber, there is so many good meetups. I know I've been part of women's luncheons through the chamber. Usually there's always really phenomenal speakers. But it just gives you the chance to meet different business professionals in your community across the board.
Other business owners, potential referral partners, and again, just the social aspect of meeting with people going through, again, we're in the industry of insurance that's, definitely different than other industries, but there's a lot of commonality. And the Chamber of Commerce, your local chamber, it again, same thing. It advocates on behalf of businesses in general in your state legislature and Congress, places like that. But you can meet people facing the same struggles with, hiring and staffing, with how to manage payroll, how to do this. Oh my gosh, rent's getting so high. All these things that are somewhat universal to businesses. You can find other people that are maybe struggling with that or maybe having success with that, and you can talk to them. It's that easy. And, beyond just the Chamber of Commerce, there's so many other opportunities, all sorts of social and fraternal organizations, your Rotaries, your Kiwanis, Oddfellows, Elks, Mooses, Lions, Tigers,
Club,
Bears.
Yep. My grandpa was a lion.
Absolutely. So, all of those that are so heavily focused on personal development, charitable giving, going out and volunteering in the community. Those are long-term community building opportunities that can, again, like we said, cement you as a cornerstone of your community. And people do business with folks that they know, like, and trust. That's a great way to build that over time. And I think, in any of these organizations that we're talking about would be a phenomenal use of your time. I really do believe that. And again, just showing up for your community is going to be one of the most critical things you can do as a business owner.
Yeah, and there's other additional ones. I know you mentioned more like personal development and charitable organizations. There's also ones that are more like personal development organizations like BNI, Toastmasters, which is all about, learning to speak publicly and, getting in front of a group of people and pitching and having them, critique your speeches or whatever. So there's a lot of different opportunity for that option as well. In addition to charitable, you've got personal development. There's a lot of community organizations too. Like if you're involved as a veteran, you've got the VFW, the VAC. So there's tons of different local organizations that you could be a part of.
There really are. And I think the big thing is you can tailor this to the level of engagement and level of structure you want. If you want something that is hyper focused on building your business and really structured in how it works, something like a BNI where you've got these required weekly meetings, you've got a system to follow, it's really dedicated to growing your business in a specific way. You've got things like, these may already exist. It may be something you need to start. There's lots of kind of locally focused kind of mastermind groups, just getting together again with other business owners, talking about struggles, talking about solutions. Find one, start one, get together with some folks and start those. And again, yes, community organizations, providing resources, sharing information with your VFWs, your American Legions, your voluntary action centers, area agencies on aging. There's probably not a bad organization to get in front of. They all have people. They all need different levels of help, and that's where you can really shine as a resource in your community as well.
Yeah, even just being involved in, like, if you're a senior agent, go to the senior center, go see if they need help running bingo or help with a garage sale or any other fundraiser that they're doing. I think just being a part of whatever you're interested in, I think, is the most important thing. If you have a passion for, whatever group you're in, whether it's learning about the industry and about the government changes and legislative updates, or it's about bettering your ability to speak in front of groups, or it's, just running a bingo night. Who knows? Like, I've seen so many different avenues, even people involved in church organizations.
Absolutely.
One person one time, he said, I have an incredible gift of knowledge that a lot of people are craving. So why would I not do a Medicare, I'm trying to remember what he called it, Medicare Moments, I think. And it was after every single church service with a little excerpt in the bulletin of where he'd be. And people would just come and he'd go over a Medicare publication. So nothing crazy, nothing that took too much time and effort. It was literally just people are craving this information. And if you've got a gift of knowledge, why not share it somehow and be part of your community and be someone that people recognize and you're sought after for that information. So speaking of being sought after for information, you and I were also talking about local media and being involved with that also.
Absolutely. I think that's one of the biggest opportunities, as you develop these connections. And again, your chamber, your Rotaries, your Toastmasters, whatever it is, these are great ways to get in front of these organizations. But you probably have a local newspaper, a local radio station, a local TV station, local magazines. You've got a lot of local publications and media sources that oftentimes need content or have an unmet need in certain areas, or you can advertise with them and then get some airtime, some marketing space. But again, just being that resource, presenting value, figuring out how to tie it in with their subscriber base or viewership. There's a lot of opportunities to get in front of local media. And whether it's seasonally, say doing like an AEP update, or something in the spring with the end of OEP, as long as we're not marketing. But again, writing for the local newspaper about issues with how to stay safe from scams for seniors or various other things like that. It's a great way, again, developing that reputation, showing off your expertise in the area, and showing again yourself as that local cornerstone that can be relied on for good information. For
sure. I definitely have seen agents and agencies who if you are a regular writer or speaker on whether it be a radio station or a magazine or a newspaper, that reputation just exceeds anything that an ad potentially couldn't have hit. So I think people are definitely in the state where they want to test you out first. They want to see like, what are you actually, like, do you actually know what your title says? So it's nice to show that you're an expert and have expertise in the industry by, volunteering some information, whether it be to a local newspaper or magazine or a radio station or anything like that. Because a lot of times, like you said, they are looking for it, and it's a way you could potentially get out there for free.
Absolutely. And, going out of local media and getting online, social media, great. Again, like anything, use caution, stay safe online, stay safe in person. But social media has taken over the lives of a lot of people, and it has, provided a lot of value to folks as well. So social media presents a lot of unique opportunities for insurance professionals because we do have the ability to access, industry groups, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn, forums, things like that. And that's a fantastic way to make connections, whether that's, referral partners in states you're not licensed to, or folks that, have access to carriers that you don't, or just like-minded individuals to swap ideas back and forth with. And it's a fantastic resource for that. But as with anything on social media, just avoid getting caught up in, it's not uncommon, and I will never understand it, to see a group of folks just kind of piling on about a carrier or an agency or anything like that. And there's never any good that comes out of it. I mean, these are Facebook groups where people know there are carrier reps in there. There are folks from the organizations that they're talking about. And it just has never made sense to me. Avoid the dog piles, avoid the politics, but use those groups for what they can be really good for. And again, that's up-to-date news, that's sharing ideas, that's making connections. All of those kind of industry groups online can be a huge value to folks.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a huge value. I think their biggest caution is just it's in writing and it's there forever. So I think you're hitting the nail on the head with use caution, but I do think it is phenomenal for everything you just said. You've got LinkedIn, you've got Facebook groups. There's so many different directions you could go. We've even seen some people on TikTok or using Instagram, and there's so many different ways that you can get on there to let people know. But even having your own personal Facebook page is valuable, because then you can post your clients. And sometimes I've even seen agents who take a picture with their client every time, with permission, of course, post it on their Facebook page, and then sometimes they go, "Oh, you work with Sally? I know Sally. That's so cool." And so sometimes you find people, and especially if you can tag them, if they allow you to do that, then you're showing up on your client's page. So it's just kind of a trickle down effect. It creates a community out that's local, but it's outside of the normal community that you would think of. So anything that you can do. Pictures, of course, work great. Videos work a little bit better. Babies and dogs, always a good thing. But basically, if you are on social media, just find what you like doing and stick with it. We have some agents who've created a huge reputation for themselves with star ratings, with Google reviews, because they are involved on social media and because they're asking their clients to review them as well. That's honestly one of the first places I go to look is,
of course,
if I'm looking for any service, if it's a lawn care, for example, I'm going to go online, I'm going to probably look for Google reviews, and then the next thing and look on their Facebook page, and then I'm going to see who has liked their page and do I know them? And then I'm going to go to that person and ask my friend or family member, have you used them and do you like them? So there's a lot of stalking that people do before they even go to their friends sometimes, because sometimes the social media, the likes and shares that other people do are really the pivotal point of someone deciding to work with you or not. Mm-hmm. So whole other community online.
Absolutely. And just such a great way, specifically just a couple words on LinkedIn, great place to connect with industry leaders, connect with folks that really know what they're talking about, and you can see people who are creating valuable content, whether that's, again, folks with carriers, folks with third-party companies that do, like here, I'll plug one that I personally follow. There's a guy named Jared Strock. If you're not following him on LinkedIn, you really should. He does incredible data visualizations for things in the Medicare industry. But there's a lot of great folks on there that you can find and follow depending on what you're looking for. And it's just, that's the place to connect with folks from a business setting and to build your own following, create content, present information out there, and figure out who you're trying to attract as you're following, and then figure out how to just really appeal to them through the content that you're putting out in the world.
For sure. And then, of course, we've always talked about finding your board of directors, your mentors, and I think some of the places that we've mentioned in your local community can help you at least find those people. But then from there, asking for advice and feedback. I think that's one of the hardest things to do is, receive feedback, especially if you're not ready to hear it. But if you can find that board that you trust and you you understand what they're saying is saying out of love and respect and wanting to better you as a person, I think going out to all those organizations, finding the right people, finding your niche, and then asking for feedback does nothing but better what you are in the community as a industry leader, as an advisor, as someone helping our seniors in the industry. So finding your board of directors.
Well, and I think the board of directors model that we talk about is, this idea that a lot of people think of a mentor as like a person, their Yoda that's going to teach them the ways. But realistically, in the real world, outside of the Star Wars universe, you probably need advice in more than one area of your life. And you may be able to find someone who can mentor you heavily in sales that may not really be able to help you and help guide you and develop you as the leader of your family, or spiritually, or in running your business, or all these various aspects of your life. So this board of directors model makes, in my opinion, a lot more sense. And you're not getting 10 people around a table and saying, okay, what are we doing this quarter? But the idea that you've got certain people you reach out to on certain things, and it's so much more helpful because it allows you to grow from so many different perspectives, depending on what that person's area of expertise is, what part of their advice you value. I know folks who give great sales advice that don't know how to run their business at all. They can sell, but they can't run a business. And I know folks that have the opposite problem. So there's a lot of great opportunities there to find numerous people to guide you in your career.
100%. I think you're spot on when you said pick and choose what you value and what you don't value with each person, and reach out and ask, and also be willing to accept feedback, and maybe not accept some of the feedback if you don't value that person as much as they think you should. So I definitely think that everything we've talked about so far has been to get you to a point where you can kind of create your own board. So the last thing that we have in terms of just making sure that as an agent you are engaged and informed is the informed part. So basically some of the things that we want to make sure to hit on today also is just some of the ways that you can find resources in addition to having your mentor, your board of directors, and your mentorship. But specifically in the insurance industry, some of the places that both of us go to look for information all the time. So one of the main ones is the Federal Registry. That's where the 2024 final rule came out. That's where you're going to see a lot of legislative changes and updates in terms of compliance and Medicare communication and marketing guidelines. Like there's a ton of things that just pop up on the Federal Registry that I know you personally enjoy reading the thousands and thousands of pages in the middle of the night. But basically making sure you're updated on rules and regulations.
Absolutely. And, the Federal Register, and with most of these sources, I would like to clarify that one of the best things you can do is pretty much all the sources we're talking about, Federal Registered Medicare Learning Network with all the resources, newsletters, webinars, reports from Medicare, you can subscribe to or set up an RSS feed with pretty much all of these sources where you're getting content delivered to you instead of having to go look for it. I get notifications every single day anytime the Centers for Medicare and Medicare Services put something on the Federal Register, whether it's for pre-inspection, for publication, whatever the case is. If CMS puts something on the Federal Register, a new information collection, a new regulation, whatever it is, I get an email about it. I also subscribe to the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Federal Trade Commission and the Federal Communications Commission.
CMS,
all these other
HHS,
organizations that
FTC.
impact our industry. But again, the big thing is knowing where to look and then knowing how to get that data coming to you instead of having to hunt for it every time.
100%. And I think I'll plug FMOs for a second because I think a lot of FMOs have people like you and I who spend a lot of time going through a lot of these different sites and emails and notifications and things like that to make sure that we're pumping out the right information too, so you're not having to hunt or dig or interpret yourself or read thousands of pages of Federal Registry notifications in the middle of the night.
Absolutely agree. Definitely find trusted sources. And here's one thing that it's a real pet peeve of mine: carrier notices. Read your dang emails, folks. There is so much good stuff that goes out from the carriers. And I realize we all get 25 a day from each individual carrier. But the number of times I've seen agents miss out on whether it's rate increases or bonus programs or
carriers withdrawing from the market,
carriers pulling out of the market, or new products or
commission addendums.
Exactly. There's so much. Read those carrier emails. Even if you sit down and do it once a day and skim through them, just make sure you're keeping an eye on those carrier notices, because a lot of it is, a lot of it's just kind of nice to know stuff, but you don't want to get complacent and miss out on those critical updates that can affect your contracts, can affect your business, and can affect your clients, and also just missing out on opportunities. I think, again, staying informed as a business owner, highly, highly important.
Absolutely. I don't have anything extra to add.
We've said it all. Again, like the whole idea behind this one, just make sure that you're staying informed, that you're becoming engaged in. And when I say community, I mean whatever your community is. Maybe you work exclusively over the phone. Maybe social media is going to be more your thing, connecting with agents around the country doing the same thing you do. Maybe it is your local community, or maybe it's a community like NIBA and the local and state chapters and things like that. But being that subject matter expert and being engaged, it allows you to make those meaningful connections, both personally and professionally, and being engaged at that level puts you in the right spot at the right time to create and take advantage of opportunities. I was sitting in front of a group of agents a couple weeks ago, and they said, "What's your best advice for a brand new agent?" And my best advice I could think of at the time was to be cautiously opportunistic. Find opportunities, know what opportunities look like, and know when to take advantage of them.
I think I would be very similar. I think I would have said, stay engaged in everything. And this is exactly what we just went through today, was being engaged in your community and being engaged in the information that's coming at you as well. Absolutely.
Again, all of this fantastic advice. There's no wrong way to get engaged. Just make sure that you are finding ways to connect with people in your industry, connect with your clients, connect with the other people that interact with your clients. And we'll see you all next time on Medicare Industry Insider.